A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
Always so fresh, delicious, and nutritious, Eggland's Best Eggs fuel the body with 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat compared to ordinary eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.
You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and this is Crime Writers On. Crime Writers On is the original true crime review podcast that digs into true crime, pop culture, other podcasts. And on this episode, authorities struggled to track down who had been sending harassing text messages to a teenage girl. Then came the plot twist. We'll talk about Unknown Number, a high school catfish from Netflix. Joining me to get that done and more is true crime author, TV journalist, and host of These Are Their Stories podcast, my husband and love of my life, Kevin Flynn. Hello, Kevin.
Hello, Rebecca.
Also with us is private investigator, certified pet detective, resident cat lady, and author of The Final Curtain, Laura Bricker. Hi, Laura.
Hey, Rebecca.
And finally, our captain of all things cynical, author of the City Trilogy, host of Strange Arrivals, and our Patreon Deep Dive Book Club podcast, Toby Ball. Hi, Toby.
Hey, Rebecca. I am coming from the Durham Public Library in Durham, New Hampshire, because my internet is out at home.
Oh, that's so exciting, though.
I love the initiative.
You gotta love government, right? Local government's where it's at. Your libraries are important, folks.
Get a
You need
library
a conference
card.
room. Yeah. If you're going to have a deposition and you don't want to spend the money,
Yeah.
your little spacer, that's free, right? Because it's a library?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah,
All right.
that's right. If you need to do an awkward drop-off from divorced parents,
Do it the library.
library's a good place to do it.
Okay. It's a pretty neutral utilitarian.
That's right. And librarians
Yeah.
are like for frontline social service people as well. They're like part of our society's safety net. So thank you, librarians. We really appreciate everything you do. So Kevin, this is Monday's program.
It is.
What's coming up on the next show?
Yeah, next week we're going to talk about the mystery film on Netflix. It's the Thursday Murder Club,
Okay.
based on the book series.
So right now, Kevin, as this is dropping, we're in Europe. Are we having fun?
I hope we're having fun. Yeah, we have been saving up for years and years, and this is the one. This is the trip of the lifetime. That's
Kevin's
the
way
Rhine
of
River
incepting that I'm never going to want to go on an expensive vacation.
I'm just
again.
saying, yeah. We ain't made of money, lady.
Inception.
There is no Patreon level high enough to get us to do another river cruise.
All right.
But,
Are we the youngest people on this boat right now, Kevin?
I think there's an excellent chance by maybe 10 or 15 years we're the youngest people.
Ergo, the most attractive people on this boat?
I mean, that was already going to be the case. But
Only murders on the river cruise.
yeah, there you go.
Do you guys miss us?
Yeah.
It's been rough.
I don't know. It's okay. Toby and I have each other for support.
Yeah, that's good.
We should be careful not to make any references. Like usually we tape on Wednesdays and the show drops the following Monday and Thursday. So our time references are within spec, right?
Yeah.
We have to be really careful this episode to not reference anything current.
Yeah. Or like what happens on These Are the Stories where we have the kiss of death.
Oh my God.
I think we have to be careful about some of the things we say about the cast of the Thursday Murder Club.
Yes.
At least we find out, oh my God, Helen Mirren died.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
We do.
Yes.
We've killed many people on the Law and Order podcast.
We mention them and the next week they're dead. It's been a thing.
And then the next episode, Kevin has to be like, well, sorry, Chris Maloney, you might be dead this week. However,
Oh, God. I can add some names to the list if we want to, experiment with this little.
We have a voodoo doll.
Not
right.
Helen Mirren.
no,
Not Helen Mirren.
Gotta
God,
keep her
no.
alive.
She's a national treasure. Just not our
International
nation.
treasure,
Yeah, okay,
yes.
yeah.
All right, Kevin, everyone is talking about the thing that we are about to talk about,
Yes.
and they have been for a couple weeks.
At least when we are talking about it.
Literally
they have,
everyone's talking about
All
it.
right.
So should we talk about that too?
Do that.
All right, leading off.
Your phone can be a good thing, obviously, to like communicate with your friends, but they could definitely be a way that something dangerous could happen.
It's crazy how having a phone could become the worst thing that happened to me.
13-year-old Lauryn thought the cruel texts about her and her boyfriend were just another case of teenage cyberbullying. But the messages didn't stop. They escalated, becoming more vicious, graphic, and relentless.
My fucking tits in his face. Fucking make him horny. Make it cream.
What in the world? They were vulgar and nasty enough in nature to make a 53-year-old man blush.
Everyone had a theory. Parents blamed classmates. Teachers suspected students. Police hit dead ends. Then a digital breadcrumb buried deep in the text exposed the last person anyone expected.
When you look at the trauma that this caused, there's no doubt that it'll have a lasting impact on all of these families. And the impact that this is going to have on these kids may be lifelong.
From Netflix and the director of Abducted in Plain Sight comes Unknown Number, a high school catfish, a chilling dive into digital deception. Teen victims, shattered families, and stunned investigators retrace the damage. We also hear from the catfish, allowing the audience to draw their own conclusions about their actions and motives. Spoiler alert, we're going to be talking about very fucking significant plot points from Unknown Number. So if you want to remain spoiler-free, go to the estimated time code in our show notes for our thumbs up or thumbs down reviews. Although it is like a stretch to believe you haven't heard about it thus far. Also, I am the host of Netflix's You Can't Make This Up podcast, and I interviewed director Skye Borgman, but that has not influenced my review, I promise. So, Laura Bricker, you have a note about the pacing of this documentary. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So as I actually watched this twice, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But for me, there were times it started to drag as they continued to just recount, it's still going on. There's more text messages. And now it's 12 months, and now it's 18 months. And the text messages are like, they're kind of repetitive. I mean, they're escalating at points, but they're just kind of like more of the same, like mean girl text messages about her boyfriend and like, you know, your stupid pussy and all, whatever else stuff. I was just like, whoa, this is like awful.
Bad.
Your flat ass.
Your flat ass,
Yeah.
whatever.
Hey, Kevin, don't say that about me, even though it's true.
Oh, stop.
You know, and I'm watching, I'm like, God, how long is this going to go on for? And then comes the reveal where you find out who was doing it. And you're like, oh, okay. I actually am okay with the fact that it dragged on because it really drove home for me just how much this took over everybody's lives for such a prolonged period of time. Because I felt like I had lived through the same period of time by the time we got to that reveal.
Yeah. So, Kevin, this isn't our first catfish story that we are familiar with in pop culture, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it starts off, I think, by now, what is kind of a familiar kind of catfish story. You know, it's that opening montage. It's kind of sets everything up, tells you what's coming up, and there's a news reporter like, oh, and the shocking identity. So your true crime viewer muscle memory is like primed for, okay, well, it's going to be, you know, we're going to find out who it is, and it's going to be somebody we don't really expect. But the real conversation to be had about this title is the second half of this film, when we do find out who the catfish is and hear all from them, or I'll just say, okay, we're already in the spoiler part
section.
When we find out from her, the mom, that
Lauren's mom, Kendra.
Mom. Yeah, so I mean, we got a whole other discussion about her before, you know, we get through sort of like, what's this documentary about? But I will say that I did think that it did a good bit of sort of jujitsu, true crime jujitsu, where we are kind of waiting to see, like, who are the people in this person's life that's going to be the catfish? The people that we end up seeing on screen, we almost always are like, oh no, that can't be them. Because the person's going to be in jail. They wouldn't be sitting down. And when you have Kendra, the mom, just kind of sitting, framed up the same way all the other parents are, talking about, you know, that world in a way where it just seems like she's exactly one of the other parents. You kind of look at her and just go, okay, it's not her. You self-eliminate her. A lot of people, maybe not everybody did, but I did. So that made the reveal all that more shocking. She'd been hiding in plain sight, just as she had in real life.
So, Toby, you frequently, in true crime documentaries in particular, talk about what we're not seeing so that the director can show us what they want us to see. And you have a note about that here as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inevitable that you have to make decisions when you're making a documentary, and, you know, you can try to play it right down the middle as much as possible, but you just can't show everything, right? I kind of felt like this is really hampered. Like at the end, I felt fairly dissatisfied because of some of the stuff that I think they left out, or if they didn't leave it out, they didn't address things that you might have been expecting. At the end, you have several people who seem to believe that Lauryn was actually a part of this catfishing thing, and it's just kind of dropped. But you also see Lauryn being pretty devoted to her mom through all of it. And I mean, there's no way to react to getting this kind of news, right? But her reaction is to be very sort of stoic and unresponsive. So that was a little bit confusing to me, that like her boyfriend, Owen, the other half of the golden couple, is like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever talk to her again. Yeah. And it seems it's like, well, so if you really believe she's a victim too, then why wouldn't you? The only reason why you do that is just if you think she was in some way complicit or encouraging or just didn't care. And then there's a couple of things that seem like key pieces of evidence, or when they're trying to track down who the person might be. And I think in particular, there's a photo that's taken at Owen's family Christmas that shows something that he got, and that gets sent. And it's like, well, who could have been in there or whatever? And I don't think Kendra was in there. So it's just
could have been. I mean, his parents
and they
were
talk about
friends.
how the families are.
But
yeah.
Wouldn't that be an important thing to like tell us?
I assumed.
You assume, so you're supposed to, like, this key piece of evidence, you're just supposed to assume that the person who ended up doing it was there.
I think maybe going back and pointing that out again would not have been the worst idea.
Well, didn't that lead to the idea that maybe it was the cousin who was the suspect?
It did.
Right.
There were a lot of suspects.
Do you think it was just sort of left hanging how that photo came to be in the first place?
Yeah. It's funny. One of the things, so I feel like a little bit at an advantage here because I actually got to talk to Skye Borgman both on and off mic about this documentary. And she just told me some interesting stuff about, for instance, Lauryn's relationship with her mother has changed since they wrapped the documentary. And there's definitely a distance there now and so forth. But one of the things, to Toby's point, Laura, we actually see the police confront Kendra, Lauryn's mom, in a real-time body-worn camera scene. We see Lauryn react to it. We see her husband, I believe they're separated at the time, react to it. What did you think about that sequence?
Of all the things, lately I feel like I've been talking about body-worn camera a lot because we've had a couple documentaries where we've had this great body-worn camera footage, but this takes the cake here. The fact that they go in to tell her, hey, we're here to confiscate your phones. We got a warrant for your phones. And she's always got this kind of I'm trying to look confused and I don't really know what's going on expression on her face. What? You're coming in? Okay.
What do you mean?
I know. So it's like you watch it unfold and you watch her just trying to kind of play stupid. And then the fact that you're able to then watch Lauryn get the information from the police officer and watch Lauryn's reaction. And when you were saying before, the relationship between them, Toby, and the confusion, I feel like Lauryn is just in shock. I feel like she was just the victim of severe manipulation, narcissistic abuse by this woman. So she doesn't even know at that point that she's a victim. And I think it's not even registering. And then as we're watching this unfold, and at this point, the cop is just kind of be the good guy. And he's like, well, so how did it happen? How did it start? Then I'm like, okay, we're going to deny, we're going to deflect, we're going to lie. Oh no, I didn't start it. I was trying to figure out who it was. Meanwhile, I'm fixated on the pile of alcohol on the table in back. And I'm like, what has been going on in that house? The entire little dining room table.
For a stag party or something.
Or for recycling or something.
Or raffle.
Yeah. No, I was like, so I'm watching this and I'm thinking, gosh, this house is so stark. And I'm thinking the husband talking about how he's they've moved. I'm like, there's not even any decorations on the walls. But then for the husband, you watch him processing.
So when did you get let go from that?
A while ago.
Are you fucking telling me the truth? Or are you lying? When did you get let go from there?
The same time.
So you've been lying to me for 6 months, a year? You have network for Texas?
Right.
He, at first, Lauryn, is I think it's because it's so shocking that you can't just be when I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, what are you? Oh my, I'm reacting like that. But if you are the person that's in it, the shock is so great that they almost don't react in the way that you think you might react in that situation. But watching it all play out to then the husband going in and being like, you need to leave here. And she's just like, no. I felt like that footage right there. One of the things I feel like I wish we had more of in this was somebody with a psychology background breaking down the sort of mentality and the mental illness aspect of this and of the people in this. And I think that this tape right here is something they could use in like psych courses in terms of like people who are in a victim, like a really strong victim situation they don't even realize they're in, being told about it and not reacting in the way that we think they would react, right?
Yeah. I think one of the most telling things in the documentary are the messages that we see from Kendra to Lauryn when she's in prison, because they absolutely demonstrate a controlling, codependent relationship that is being done by 100% done by the mom. Like the guilt about not being loved, the love bombing. It's like classic codependence, right? I was actually wondering if the alcohol kind of played into that a little bit, because there's sometimes substance misuse or other kinds of issues present in those codependent relationships. I thought it was super interesting. Kevin, what were you going to say?
But another thing is just like what we see from Sean here is it almost becomes like another reveal, because this is the first time that we realize there is a lot more going on with Kendra about lying about having a job and the things that she's doing. And it's not just that, oh, we didn't realize how tech savvy she was because she has this other job. It's obvious that when things started pointing to her, they start doing a little more digging specifically on her. Like, let's go to her employer and find out, no, she's been lying about this too. And you realize, okay, there's a lot more going on with this woman than just trying to fuck around with a bunch of text messages.
One of the things, Toby, that I thought about, when I was watching this and then also afterward, is we see a class difference, like an economic class difference between Kendra and Sean and Lauryn's family and the other families they're interacting with. We just see it. We see the homes in which they're being interviewed. We kind of get a sense of it from some of the interviews that are taking place. I found myself wondering to what extent that played into this dynamic, because I imagine a world in which Kendra really wants to be like and be part of this group of moms who all have, they're firmly in the middle class, all have these like beautiful homes and beautiful lives, and that something bad happening to her daughter is a way to bond with them, a thing to talk about that makes her interesting to these women. I mean, that was like extra textual, but I found myself wondering that too, because that family really is the only below the firm middle class line family that we see in the documentary.
Yeah, I mean, that seems clear that there's that issue. I just kind of feel like with Kendra, she's got so many pressures that she's put on herself with these fake jobs. It's one of those things that's going to come due at some point, right? You can't pretend forever that you have a job when you don't, and you're not getting paid anything, right? I mean, that just kind of runs out. So it does seem like she had sort of tried to construct this fake life, and this whole, my daughter is the subject of a text stalker was part of it. And how much class has to do with that? I don't know. I mean, I assume it feels better for her to say, oh yeah, I work at Ferris State as an IT person, is better than saying, well, I got laid off and I'm unemployed. I'm trying to find another job. And, I think, having your daughter be a victim of like this, it's absolutely horrendous, the stuff that she's getting. I mean, it's just that to me was like the biggest shocking thing. Like when it was the mom, I was like, yeah, I can kind of see it, but the vitriol that she throws at her is nuts.
You are worthless and mean nothing. You never have. Get a fucking life out of here. Owen will never look at you again or talk to you. You fucked his life up so bad. His family fucking hates you for it, and he will never in his life acknowledge you again. Get the fuck lost, bitch. He's fucking done with you.
But anyway, I do. I mean, I think that's a way of sort of penetrating this social group that maybe she was not a part of or did not feel like she was going to be a part of. Her sort of level, I think, of self-delusion, and then of sort of setting up this sort of fantasy life for herself that it wasn't like it was a glamorous like fantasy life, but it was just a different fantasy life that she wasn't actually living, that she couldn't maintain.
Right.
I guess we'll talk about the end later, but it's a little bit hard to feel sorry for her when you actually see her trying to process what she's done. But at the same time, she had to have known that one of those things was going to, I mean, she happened to get busted first for the text, but at some point her husband was going to find out that she didn't have a job or whatever. So somehow the house of cards was going to fall. It was just a matter of from which angle that happened.
Yeah. I just made a note. It reminds me a little bit of these like family annihilator cases we hear about. There was just a horrible one in New Hampshire. It was a murder-suicide case with 2 kids and a husband. And it turns out she's been embezzling from her employer hundreds of thousands of dollars. And her employer had gone to the police and she knew it. And he'd been trying to work it out with her. And she was like in denial about it. Horrible, horrible, horrible story. And
one of the classic family annihilator cases was John List. And that was like ahead of time. He lost his job, and for like a year, he'd leave the house,
pretend to work,
go someplace, and come back. I mean, I don't know like how you swing that financially, but that's the pattern.
Not to plug the deep dive, but this book, The Adversary, is totally about this guy who was going to med school, essentially flunked out, but pretend he didn't at like 22 or something, and then just like created this fake like career that he had for like a couple of decades where he was like, he'd get up and he'd go off to work at the WHO, but in fact, he'd just like go for a walk in the forest for 8 hours and then show back up. He just kept it going on for so long. But then again, it's like, there is an endpoint to this, right? You just can't keep it going forever. And I think he kept expecting to get caught and nobody was ever putting together all the pieces. So he's like, oh, fuck. Well, I guess I'm back in the woods again today.
We'll find out more about Toby's thoughts on that by joining us at patreon.com/partners in crime media. Toby says no need to plug, but what the hell, man?
You can plug it. That's for us too, Toby. Your thing is in our Patreon, so plug away.
All sorts of great exclusive content there. Like I said, it's patreon.com/partners in crime media. You can join for free. You get a trial there. You can kick the tires. You can hear Toby and his panel talking more about The Adversary. You also can get things like the Crime Writers on After Show. If you want to hear Laura talk about watching her son jumping out of a goddamn plane and hoping that he lands. We'll hear more about that. We also have Married with Podcast, our advice podcast, and Rebecca still finds things to talk about in the Karen Reed case for the Readathon.
Yes.
Now we have an Amazon storefront where you can see some of our favorite things. Rebecca, what are this week's Amazon recommendations?
Well, Kevin, in advance of our trip, on which we can bring something like 140 pounds of luggage.
Yes.
I'm still trying to like find smaller versions of regular things.
Yeah, no need, but all right.
And I have this hairbrush that looks exactly like Barbie's hairbrush. It's like hot pink and it looks exactly like it. It has even the plasticky sound. I found a miniature version of it that I ordered on Amazon. It's like the size of my hand and it looks like a tiny little Barbie brush and it works great. And I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, well, you listeners inspired Toby Ball's deep cut recommendation. So, Toby, what Amazon recommendations are part of your deep cut?
All right, we're going to start out with the Brandon Super 100 pieces, 8 inches by 6 inches, clear flat cello cellophane. Treat bags good for bakery, popcorn, cookies, candies, dessert, birthday. 1.4... It's either milliliters or million, not sure. Give metal.
Wow, is this something one of our listeners purchased?
It appears to be.
Amazing. Maybe they're going to send us some sourdough.
That would be awesome. DM me for my address. And so next up, we have Pro Dough Pastry Scraper Cutter Chopper. Stainless steel mirror polished with measuring scale, multi-purpose cake pizza cutter - pastry bread separator.
Oh, it's one of those things you see where like the bakers are like cutting the dough in half.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Apparently we do have a sourdough person out there. It's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah, so make sure you shop us first at amazon.com/shop/crime-writers-on. We earn commissions on qualified purchases.
All right, Kevin, before we end the business section, do we have any Patreon patron saints of the week this week?
Our Patreon patron saints are Rachel Cannon and Donna Manny.
Wow, it's canon
Bless
now,
you.
right? It's canon, Rachel. You are a patron of the week.
It is canon, but that would be one
I
N
know.
and not what?
I was just doing wordplay on Rachel's wonderful name.
Oh, Rachel's never heard that before.
Rachel and Donna, thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. I encourage other listeners to do the same. You can hear more about Toby's book picks. You can get the readathon. You can get Married with Podcast. All of it. So, Kevin, is that the end of our business section?
Thus ends the business section.
I'm going to fade that music out.
From producer Jordan Peele, the movie Him asks the question, would you sell your soul for greatness?
What are you willing to sacrifice? Activate my...
This Friday.
You want what I have, you got to take it from me. What if I say no? I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Experience fear like never before.
It's time for me to show you exactly who I am.
Him, directed by Justin Tipping, rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent. Only in theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
So, Laura, you have some deep thoughts about this show.
Sorry, Laura, but sometimes those deep thoughts can be very distracting.
It's true.
Or sometimes you just really need to talk it out, which is why finding a therapist is important, but it can be hard to do, and that's where the folks from Rula come in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes accessing affordable, high-quality mental health care easier. If a lot of people want to do it online, finding one that takes your insurance can be a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
So Rula partners with over 100 insurance plans to match users with licensed in-network therapists and psychiatrists nationwide. So they work on sort of like, what your goals are. Some people might find the world a little challenging.
Yes.
Some people might be doom scrolling.
Why?
Some people might be thinking about their future. And
yes.
Talking to someone about it is great, especially talking to somebody about it who knows what they're doing. No offense to like any of your sisters, Rebecca, but I just don't think that maybe they are the best people to sort of like
help me with my existential dread.
Exactly. So Rule is going to stick with you through your journey, checking in, make sure that the care is helping, moving you forward, and appointments are often available as soon as tomorrow. And most patients are paying just $15 a session.
Wow.
Thousands of people are already using Rula for therapy that is high quality, accessible, and best of all, covered by insurance.
Visit Rula.com/CWO
CWO
to get started. After signing up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Let them know that this show sent you.
We're Crime Writers On, by the way.
That's RULA.com/CWO.
CWO.
Because mental health care should work with you and not against your budget.
Nothing brings us together like Eggland's best eggs. Always so fresh and delicious, plus superior nutrition like 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fat compared to ordinary eggs. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs. Visit egglandsbest.com to learn more.
Laura, I've been wanting to ask you this whole time.
Okay.
You watched this twice. How come?
I did, because I apparently have nothing going on. I watched it the first night and I was like, I can't turn away. I can't look away. And then the next night, my son and his girlfriend were over for dinner and we were talking about things. And I said, you guys got to watch this show. I want a teenager's perspective on this. And so we were sitting and we were watching it. We were actually sitting right where I am now in my little kitchen. I have a little TV in the kitchen.
You start texting the girlfriend with your burner phone?
Yeah. I was like, you bitch. I'm like, no.
I don't want to see you skanky butt or whatever the thing was. Yeah.
Well, what was interesting, though, is before the reveal, it opened up a huge discussion, which I think for me gets a little bit lost once the reveal happens, because then I just am like, what's wrong with Kendra? What's her mental illness? What's her diagnosis? The discussion was like, this is something that happened so much with the mean girl type girls in high school right now. And Will's girlfriend was talking about it and telling us about how, this is what girls in my school are like. And it's really awful. And then, so she was really buying into the narrative that you think in the beginning of this, which is that it's one of their peers. And with good cause, because apparently, we were not in that generation when we were in high school. And it's so prevalent now that girls are texting each other like this.
We had MASH books, though, Laura. You probably don't remember those. Same thing.
But Toby, remember when you had to go bully somebody face to face to give them a wedgie?
Oh, yeah.
Those were the days.
Put them in their actual... Yeah, put them in their actual locker. Yeah. These kids.
That's why I was surprised that the kids went to the cops. And I was happy for them that they told adults, because they usually don't, right?
Absolutely. And it's interesting. We had a similar conversation with Will's girlfriend about a situation in her school last year where she was like, they couldn't decide what to do about the situation that had happened. And they're like, call Will's mom. She'll know what to do. And I was like, you got to go to the cops.
Yeah.
You got to document it. But it was actually the other reason I rewatched this. I wanted to see someone else's reaction to the reveal. And the face that happened was so amazing. I wish I took a picture, because it was like, for like 5
They had
minutes.
no
And I'm
idea.
like,
Yeah.
yep.
I didn't know either. They got me. She got me. I mean, I didn't do the thing where I looked it up in the beginning of the thing.
I did because I couldn't take it.
Yeah. I will tell people, granted, it's out there on social media everywhere, but if you're recommending this to somebody to watch and they haven't heard of it, do not fucking tell them what happens. Because honestly, it is so rare that we're actually surprised by something that we see in one of these things. Honestly, it's like, it's shockingly rare that we are not like, or at least that I am not like, oh, I bet it's so-and-so. So Kevin, speaking of Kendra, the perp, one of the things she says, which you and I laughed out loud when she said it, was, hey, everyone has broken the law at some point. And I'm like, what a weird fucking worldview that is.
And realistically, a lot of us have probably broke the law at some point or another and not got caught. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm sure people drove drunk, haven't been caught, right? But again, if you get caught, you're in the same situation I'm in, but for a different thing.
Yeah, I mean, talk about rationalizing, and I think the thing was sort of like her emotions sort of, run the gambit during this interview. And I think just the way that she said that, where it wasn't that it was dismissive and it wasn't that it was like, nah, you've done stuff too. It wasn't accusatory, but it was kind of like hey, we've all done this. No, I'm like, no, nobody's done that. Nobody's done that. But yeah, that was really, and so again, another sort of like hook. She says that, I'm like, oh, I am all in this bitch. I can. Yeah, that was a really interesting moment. Yeah, it just seems like you're just sort of out of touch, and you're like, does she really get what she did if this is her statement?
No, and that's the whole thing. That's where I wanted somebody to come in and like watch what she was saying and talk about what she did and be like, yeah, this is what is probably her psychology. This is what somebody like her, why they would be doing this. Because, and I read an interview with Skye Borgman where she was saying like she's an unreliable narrator. I'm like, she's an unreliable narrator because she's just creating her version of reality. And she also is kind of changing some of the facts just enough so that she's not like as bad as you think she is, that she's not as fault as you think she is. Like, oh, well, I was just here to like catch the people. Like, I didn't send the first ones. And you're like, of course you sent the first ones. Of course you did. Like, no. And even when she was like talking about having this relationship with her daughter, like she's just delusional. Even when she then starts talking about her own trauma as a teenager, I'm like, that's not what this is about. What this is about is this codependent relationship where she didn't want her little girl to grow up and she wanted her to rely on her in this scary situation to stay close to her by creating this false, scary boogeyman out there. So she'd be like, mommy, protect me. So that she still had value in her child's life.
And it worked.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they were tight. And one of the things that's really interesting in the documentary is when Kendra's talking about how much she loves her daughter, and then they juxtapose the text messages in front of it, and you're like, yeah, cool.
Fucking trash, bitch. Don't fucking wear leggings. Ain't no one wants to see your anorexic flat ass.
I would question what I wear to school, how I look, how's my hair.
Toby, what do you think about all that? I mean, at one point in the documentary, someone calls this a case of digital Munchausen by proxy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a theory. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one because I feel as though there must be some aspect of self-loathing that goes in all this. I mean, it's really just the extremeness of the content of these text messages that it's like, even if you're doing like digital Munchausens, like, I don't think you have to go there. Yeah, this is really
This
crazy,
is Gypsy Rose level digital Munchausens.
Vile stuff. Another one of my criticisms is that I don't think you really have much of a sense of what their age is, or at least if they did, I've completely missed it, because you see them now, but you don't know how long ago everything happened. And then you see these pictures that look like they're in like 6th grade. It's like,
yeah, they were 12.
Is that
12
when
or
this is
13
happening?
Yeah.
But they don't. But did they actually say that at any time?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
right
then it happens
top,
over a couple of years, so it's sort of like they get to be mid-teens. But yeah, now they're older teenagers now.
So I think there's probably a lot going on. Like, I don't think that whoever said that was taking into account the whole thing with her making up these jobs and stuff. I mean, I think it's a complicated situation, which you have to take a look at kind of like holistically everything that she's doing that is transgressive or whatever. And what could account for all these things? I mean, is it one of those things? Like, I don't think she says like, oh, I'm a different person when I was doing that, because sometimes you do get that with people who are particularly like sexually transgressive like that. It's like, oh, I don't know what comes over me. I'm not myself in those situations or whatever. But it doesn't seem like she really says that. That's not really a defense. Nope. It's just kind of like, well, everybody kind of does fucked up stuff sometimes, and some people get caught and some people don't. And I got caught. So, you know, he who was without sin cast the first stone. It's like, well, what about this particular sin? Because I think almost all of us are without that one. So you're going to be catching a lot of stones.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking essentially like the big question here is why, right? I mean, we got who, it's shocking, but the why, and I don't think anybody is like taking this as an excuse, but there are like explanations for different kinds of things here. You know, the idea that, you know, they said cyber Munchausen, which was something that I hadn't heard before, kind of made sense, you know, even though it like really hasn't been defined. The National Institute for Health they called it Munchausen by internet, but those are cases where it's like somebody online pretends to be sick and gets that attention. Like, so we know sort of that pattern. And this is sort of the first time we have seen this kind of thing play out in a documentary. And, you know, it makes sense because in those cases, it's like you do something to harm somebody you love, usually your child, in order to achieve emotional or psychological or some other kind of benefit, right? And so that seems to be like, oh yeah, that is an explanation. Yeah. But there are so many other things here that got, like, you know, you're right about her, you know, underlying sexual trauma,
attention-seeking behavior.
Yeah, all this, you know, this stuff. There's a lot going on, right? And so, you know, when you say somebody is like severely broken, it's like, I think that this is an example of that.
Yeah, a lot of people are severely broken, though, and don't torture their kids.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure we point that out. There was something that I forgot that somebody reminded me of the other day. Is, you know, James Renner, the writer and true crime guy?
Yeah.
He's a diagnosed psychopath. And as far as I know, he's never actually killed anybody. He's a self-professed diagnosed psychopath. He put that in his book.
Okay.
And I'm like, I mean, people walking around with severe mental illness and not torturing their kids. It is a thing that happens. Yeah, I just keep thinking about what she also did to the community in addition to what she did to her daughter. I mean, these parents aren't talking to each other anymore. Like, no one trusts each other. No one likes each other. There's clearly walls everywhere.
Then can I just make one comment on that? Because I thought it was like kind of unfair for Chloe's parents, the one who was the cop, the other mom there, to accuse Sean and Lauryn of not being victims, or they're going to play off like they're victims or whatever that was about.
Sean and Lauryn are going to play this off like they were the victim in this shit. They had no clue what was going on, and they're going to get away with it because Mike Main didn't do his fucking job and investigate them. And that's exactly what happened.
I get you're mad about your sourpuss mean girl daughter, right?
Hey. You don't know that we just heard that.
Okay, that's what everybody else implied. There's a reason why they thought she was the catfisher, right? But that wasn't fair. I mean, obviously.
You just called somebody a sourpuss mean girl. That's not fair.
Back me up.
I'm just competitive about sports, that's all.
But
she's a child.
Isn't that like a filmmaker thing, though? I mean, Chloe, she's portrayed as a bully and a jerk and all this stuff, whereas Lauryn is portrayed as a victim all the time. I mean, that really seems to me to be choices that the director's making. Like, you could very easily make a choice to have Chloe be this girl who's just completely unfairly accused of this thing that she really had nothing to do with. Right. She's, by all accounts, like, even if she's like mean or whatever, she's very popular. You know, she's friends with Owen, all this stuff. So I kind of come back to, I wonder, like, what was the point of leaving that stuff in if you're just going to let it sit there? Like, it really does, to me, feel like they're trying to implicate Lauryn as having something to do with it, because she does it and then Owen does it, and it's just kind of left there hanging. And I don't know, like, what are you supposed to make of it?
It's up to you to decide.
But I think that's a rough one when you're basically vilifying this girl who actually had nothing to do with it. She just had people just don't think she's nice. You know?
Yeah. Look, I don't disagree with you, Tub. The way I saw that was that we saw that through the body-worn camera interview with her, and the thing that, like, these other kids said about her to explain why she was in the frame.
Yeah.
And also to sort of set up why those parents would say that at the end.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, we always sort of make those decisions about, okay, are we just framing her like this so that we have a red herring in this documentary? But
sure. I mean, that's how you make a documentary.
Right. And is that fair or not? Right?
No, exactly. So, Laura, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Kendra agreed to be in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I know that people like Sky do and other filmmakers do, is they say, everyone's just going to talk about you. And if you want a chance to defend yourself or tell yours from your perspective, like the only way to do that is to give an interview. In a million years, if you did what Kendra did, would you agree to sit down for an on-camera interview with Sky Borgman about the thing that you did?
No. But I think that's what is so brilliant about this, because it really goes to show the level of mental illness that is at play here, because her level of self-awareness is so skewed that she thinks this is a good idea. She thinks, if I go on this, my daughter's going to see it and know that I was really on her side, that I really only started sending the messages to try to find out who was really sending the messages.
Yes. I only called her a cunt for that reason.
And so it was like her logic was just so twisted.
Yeah.
But that, I think, is a window into just the level of dysfunction that you're dealing with here, because it's like she, number one, is trying to absolve herself of how much she did to not only damage her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend's life and her daughter's boyfriend's family's life, but the entire community has really been affected by this, and her going on in the way that she did. And then, like we've already talked about, saying like, oh, people drive drunk and don't get caught. People do all sorts of crimes and don't get caught. I just got caught. It's like she's trying to justify what she did and rebrand herself, but it's not going to work because her reality is so warped that there's a disconnect there. So I think it was amazing that she was part of it. And when I went back and watched it the second time, it was even wilder, because now that I know what's going to happen and I'm watching the things that she's saying earlier on about, I was just really mad that like the school wasn't doing enough and stuff. And like, I just didn't think the school was really trying to figure out what was going on. And I'm like, oh my God, this is documentary gold. If I was Sky Borgman when she said that, I would have been like, holy shit, It's like crazy.
They could have caught me sooner.
Yeah.
From producer Jordan Peele, the movie Him asks the question, would you sell your soul for greatness?
What are you willing to sacrifice? Activate my...
This Friday.
You want what I have, you have to take it from me. What if I say no? I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Experience fear like never before.
It's time for me to show you exactly who I am.
Him, directed by Justin Tipping, rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent. Only in theaters Friday. Get tickets now.
Are you ready to get spicy?
These Doritos Golden Sriracha aren't that spicy.
Maybe it's time to turn up the heat.
Or turn it down. It's time for something that's not too spicy. Try Doritos Golden Sriracha.
Spicy.
But not too spicy.
If you thought goldenly breaded McDonald's chicken couldn't get more golden, think Golder! Because new sweet and smoky special edition gold sauce is here. Made for your chicken favorites.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time. Monday Sidekick, the AI agent that knows you and your business, thinks ahead and takes action. Ask it anything. Seriously. Monday Sidekick, AI you'll love to use. Start a free trial today on monday.com.
All right, let's do what we do. Let's let our listeners know, should they check out Unknown Number, a high school catfish? Laura Bricker, thumbs up or thumbs down for Unknown Number, a high school catfish from Netflix?
Yeah, this is a big thumbs up for me. We have watched other catfish scam documentaries and listened to podcasts. Some, we've even heard the same case in two mediums. This case was like nothing I have ever seen. And when I realized what actually had happened, like I could not pick my jaw up off the floor. So much so that I've been telling everybody about it. I've watched it twice. But I think what is interesting about this is it takes something that we hear about happening a lot in teenage life and gives a very different type of experience around cyberbullying and texting. The only thing I would fault us for, and I said this a few times during our main review, I really wanted somebody that was like a talking head expert to come in and give some more context about the mental illness aspect of what was happening in this case and some of the people involved in this case, because that's the part I was super fascinated by at the end, was like, what would make somebody carry out a catfish scheme to the level that they did, involving the people that they involved. So it's a thumbs up for me.
Toby Ball, thumbs up or thumbs down for Unknown Number, a High School Catfish.
So I'm a thumbs up. I'm not sure if I'm a huge thumbs up. It's a genuinely wild story. They have some crazy interviews. And again, I think it's something you can go and watch a second time and maybe even find it even crazier than the first time, because you don't realize how crazy it's going to get. That being said, I felt like there were some pretty obvious unanswered questions, or at least I missed out on when they were trying to explain them, if they did. I also kind of feel as though you could kind of feel the director's finger on the scale, I thought, for certain people, which I found a little frustrating. I mean, it's both wild and it's also very complicated. And I think sometimes the complicated reality of it gets kind of set aside for the sensational aspect of it, which I get. Like, it's sensational stuff. I just felt like there was stuff that might have been left on the editing floor or what have you that would have been helpful. And I think there was also a way that some of the people in this, like, their roles could have been redefined slightly so that they, instead of appearing one way, they would appear in a slightly more sympathetic way. But that being said, you know, they've got interviews with everybody. They've got footage of just crazy stuff from these police body cams. The source material is very, very rich. So, yes. It's a thumbs up. I mean, there's no question that it's good, but it's just like, it's one of those things, again, where it's like, you know, I just think there's a few things that kind of kept it, for me at least, from becoming sort of like the kind of thing I would say was the best of the year.
Yeah. Kevin Flynn.
Yeah, I'm going thumbs up on this too. I think that this really takes off in the second half. I mean, we've got the mystery of who the catfisher is, but we find out and we get to hear from them about why they did what they did. That part is just very fascinating. You don't really know how much of that you want to believe. You don't know how much of that you want to forgive. And it just sort of still leaves you talking. So again, if this is something that you watch and then you want to have a conversation with somebody about, or you want to like say to somebody, oh my God, can you believe the thing that they said about this? And like what these text messages were actually all about. That's a sign of a great documentary. And we talked a lot about the director, Skye Borgman, in this, about her creative decisions and stuff. And remember, this is the person that brought us Abducted in Plain Sight, which was one of the craziest ones, some of the biggest reveals. And so as far as like giving a twist, I thought like for what might be kind of a, I don't want to say a rudimentary mystery, that the way it was presented to the audience as a big shocker, it was way more effective than probably what the actual answer to the mystery is. But I thought it was presented in a way that was just absolutely fascinating and worth that water cooler conversation for people who still go to the office. Thumbs up.
Yeah, this is a big thumbs up for me. I agree with Toby that some stuff was left on the cutting room floor, but I'm okay with it only because they have everybody in the documentary. So it's not like, you know, oh, it would have been great to hear from this person that they're talking about. Like, they're all there. And also, let's just be real, in terms of entertainment value, it is a very entertaining watch. Everyone's talking about it, and I can't just say no to something like that. I have to be like, well, that's rare these days. It's like the Jinx effect, not happening a lot these days, where people are like genuinely blown away. I actually would love a documentary about this documentary. I would love like another camera sort of outside of the Skye Borgman interview and their camera showing what it's actually like there now. Like, a lot of these people in this documentary, they must hate each other. They must. And it would be very interesting to sort of see the conversations of like, do you want to go play yourself in detention? Do you want to, there's just a lot in this that would be just really fun to sort of get behind the scenes of and watch. I felt the same way, by the way, about The Staircase. I love a documentary about the documentary. Anyway, so yeah, thumbs up for me for Unknown Number, A High School Catfish. I want to watch it again now. Thanks, Laura, for that inspiration. Now it's time for my favorite part of the podcast, a little something I like to call
the crime of the week.
It's the crime of the week. A man in Cape Coral, Florida, was able to thwart a nighttime burglar breaking into cars in the neighborhood. And he did it while wearing a set of Batman pajamas. Kyle Myvet said he knew there was a reason he put the Caped Crusader jammies on before going to bed that night. He spotted on his Ring camera a man going through his neighbor's cars and stealing items inside. Myvet swung into action. He grabbed the bad guy by the wrist and said, "It's in your best interest to sit down and comply." Was that okay?
It's in your best interest to sit down and comply.
Do Bane saying it.
Oh, you're from, okay. Batman, it's in your best interest to sit down and comply.
Thank you.
Yeah. Batman's better.
Police don't encourage citizens to physically intervene in crimes this way, but the cops did take a photo with Myvet, a grown-ass man, wearing his fleece zip-up Dark Knight pajamas. When asked by a reporter why he did it, he said, "In the light of integrity, it's not in me to just stand there and be a coward when I see that something needs to be done." Turns out, not all heroes wear capes, but some do wear onesies. So, panel, this grown man has other themed pajamas for his feats of daring do. What else are we going to see him wearing? Laura Bricker.
He's going to be wearing some hamburglar pajamas before he goes to get some hamburgers.
What do you think, Toby? What other jammies are we going to see this guy wearing?
He's going to do a lightning attack while wearing his Pikachu PJs.
Oh, what do you think, Kevin?
He's got pajamas that are just the top, and that's why he's going as the Flash.
Or Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, but in the Flash, he's flashing, don't
yes,
you know?
Yeah, I get
go.
it.
All
That's
right,
going to do
Pooh.
it. That's going to do it. But before we go, Laura Bricker, do we have a cat of the week this week?
Our cat of the week comes to us from Susan Ritter Schultz, and it is a 2-part nomination. Susan is nominating her grand pets. Grand dog Maybe, think Arrested Development, is a 9-year-old, I have never heard of this, Catahoula leopard, black mouth cur mix, rescued by her daughter Zoe in 2017 when Maybe jumped in Zoe's Honda Element in Nebraska while on a road trip from Telluride home to Baltimore. Maybe has been the subject and muse for many artistic renderings and online projects. And this came with a bunch of actual Crayola drawings of this dog that have been done, I'm assuming, by her grandchildren. And then the grand cat Precious Cheddar is a handsome chunk of orange fur who recently made his home in Baltimore City, specifically with my daughter Lucy. Left alone and homeless by previous owners in South Carolina, this sweet boy found love, safety in his forever home in February of this year. Susan loves the show and has been listening since the beginning. So I love the pictures of the dog. Look at this. This is the dog and the pumpkin that they carved to look like the dog.
Very funny.
Very creative. So thank you for sending that in, Susan.
I'll say, Susan, I appreciate a person who considers himself to be a grandparent of pets. I really, really do. I think it's very sweet. Laura Bricker, if folks want to reach out to you online and pitch any kind of animal, theirs or someone else's or some other kind of animal to be pet of the week, cat of the week, how can they find you online?
They can find me at Laura Bricker.
What about you, Toby? How can you be found online?
At TobyBallNH on Blue Sky and at TobyBall603 on Instagram.
Kevin, how can you be found?
I'm at Kevin P. Flynn.
And if you want to follow me everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, and so forth, you can find me at Reb Lavoie. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Blue Sky, and TikTok everywhere at Crime Writers On. But mostly, you should join our incredible Facebook group. We've got a bunch of new people in the group this week. I just want to say thank you all to joining, and it's a great group to be a part of. Get episodes early and ad-free and everything else we make at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia. Our theme song was composed and performed by Tyler Gibbons, and our editor is the really terrific Livy Burdett. The EP of this show is Kevin. This show was recorded in Studio C, the closet in our New Hampshire basement, where we also send very mean text messages to one another from Laura's burner phone. On behalf of all the crime writers, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you later. Super interesting. Kevin, what were you going to say?
Yeah. Sorry.
Kevin, what were you going to say?
Well, another... Sorry, let me get a drink here.
Ew.
Don't ooh me. I couldn't talk for the past 10 minutes. Okay.
Crime Media.
Come to DSW for the shoes, stay for the fun. Because, let's be honest, if shoe shopping isn't fun, are you even doing it right? So go ahead, try something new. Try something different. Good different. Try something that feels like you. You know, the real you. And then definitely brag about it later. Because at DSW, you've got unlimited freedom to play. Find the shoes that get you at prices that get your budget at DSW stores or at DSW.com. Let us surprise you.